Girls here. Thanks for coming on today's episode. This week, like every week, I'll be talking about natural living and healthy tips that will get you to rethink how you live and what products or habits you can easily change to better your life. So let's get started. Hey friends, before we get started, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate you listening every week and that more and more I look forward to speaking with you. So, anyways, what is our topic this week? Well, what is sumac and how can you use it? Now, sumac is a bush that produces red berries and is common around the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Yes, there is poisonous sumac, and there is also the kind that is edible. Poison sumac will be found in a wet, marshy area, while non-poisonous sumac, like staghorn and smooth sumac, being the most common. And tree of heaven live in pure soil and drier habitats. The leaves of poison sumac are compound, oval, elongated, and smooth-edged, usually 2 to 4 inches long. The stems are generally red with 7 to 13 leaves in pairs. Leaves are bright orange in spring, dark green in summer, and red-orange in the fall. In comparison, the leaves of non-poisonous sumac are serrated, and the leaves of the tree of heaven have a noticeable notch on the lower pairs of leaves at the base. Now, staghorn sumac branches are also covered with a soft, fuzz-like velvet, as you would see on stags' antlers. Now, a good rule to remember is when a plant has white berries, it is usually poisonous. White means fright, red delight. Now, if you go to heatherearls.com/sumac, I have pictures on there so you can further identify which ones are poisonous and which ones are not. Now, staghorn sumac is a type we often see in the northeast of the United States and produces a cone-shaped cluster. Now, where does poison sumac grow? Poison sumac likes swampy areas, as we've said, so you are less likely to see it along a beaten path, unlike poison ivy or poison oak. However, ornamental and poison sumac can live side by side, so you should always stay alert. Should you harvest the safe types of sumac? Yes, August is the perfect time to harvest non-poisonous sumac and use its berries to make a refreshing, tangy sumac lemonade. The delightful red berries are full of vitamins A, C, and antioxidants, making it a wild, nutritious alternative to your everyday drinks. Now, perfect harvest comes when the berries turn red. Try not to collect right after a rainstorm, as it can dilute the flavor. Now, with a pair of heavy-duty scissors or clippers, you want to clip 12 to 15 berry clusters from the stems. Your hands may become sticky, so wear a pair of gloves and gently place the clipped cones into a basket. Bring them back home and use. You can also dry and grind sumac to make a spice, which is used much like salt and pepper. It adds just a little flavor, enhancing the taste of your dish. All right, so I'm going to talk about some more ways you can use sumac. You can soak the berries to make a drink, like we've discussed, and in just a little bit, I'm going to give you that recipe and instructions. So when the red berries are soaked in cold water, they can be used to create a drink called sumac lemonade. 2, decoration. Use the foliage to produce beautiful arrangements in the early fall. Number 3, drying of sumac berries. To dry, you want to rub a cluster or cone together in your hands so the red berries fall away from the outer hairy portion. Lay them out on a pan or air dry the berries using a mesh bag. Be sure to dry them completely so they don't mold. Number 4, grind dried sumac and add flavor to your meals. Once your berries are dried, use a blender or your choice grinder and grind them until you see red dust coming away from the seed. This red dust is your berry and spice. Strain the red powder through a strainer of your choice to separate it from the seed. Collect and store the ground berries in an airtight container and place in a cool, dry area and use according to your recipe or taste. Now, making sumac-ade or sumac lemonade. First, you want to collect your clusters, as we have talked about, by clipping them, and then place the amount you want in a large pot with a cover. You should have about 1 cup of water for each cone. Once your cones and water are in the pot, Put a plate or heavy object on top so the sumac stays submerged in the water. Let them sit overnight or for a short 8-hour period. The longer you leave the sumac to soak, the more pungent or sour your sumac aid will taste. It's sort of like kombucha. When your cones have sat for the desired length of time, strain the aid by choosing a cheesecloth and rest it in a pitcher. You do not want the hairy portion from the plant in your refreshing drink. Now remove the cheesecloth and discard the unwanted contents once you're finished. Now finish by sweetening your newly prepared sumac with honey, stevia, organic sugar, or your preferred sweetener. And last, refrigerate and serve as you would lemonade. Now let's get into making a spice. To make a spice that tastes a little like lemon pepper, mix 1/3 pepper to 2/3 sumac. Use this on chicken, zucchini, and other grilled veggies. The mixture might clump a little, but don't worry about it. Just shake it in your shaker or spread evenly across your veggies or meat. Now that you have a good idea of what sumac is and the different ways you can use it, let me explain the main reason I wanted to talk about sumac on this podcast. A lot of people on social media have asked why I chose the sumac as my header image. The answer is simple. There is a quiet place I like to go that is close to my house. This place has staghorn sumac, and when the deep red berries are in full bloom, it reminds me of several things. Go red or go home. It's a saying my grandmother used to tell me. It reminds me of peace, family, and that we are to treat nature and our surroundings with respect. It reminds me why I write on my blog each week, because I want to share the knowledge that will help people in their journey of health. Lastly, it keeps me grounded, so I always remember where I came from. To that end, I wish you and your families the best health possible. Oh wait, you guys, a special note about wild and or poisonous plants. Leaves of 3 let it be. Okay, it's a saying. I'm going to repeat it again. Leaves of 3 let it be. A berry plant like blackberry or raspberries also has 3 leaves. However, the thorny stems are a dead giveaway that it is not poisonous. Do not eat anything you find in the wild unless you can identify it and know how to harvest it. All right, you guys, that's it. Have a blessed week. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Urban Wisdom and Natural Living. Tune in next week where I'll broadcast live every Monday morning at 8 a.m. If you miss it live, hold those tears and head on over to my blog, which is heatherarles.com. That's Heather, EARLES.com. There you can have 24/7 access or right here on iTunes. If you want to follow me on social media, you'll find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. Have a healthy week.